Hello and welcome back to the Home Renovation Experts. Here I am, day one of the next garden room build. So I thought I'd start in a van. It's a good place to start. So there you go, 25 bags of ballast. I'm not riding too low actually, I'm quite impressed. That's all right, that's not too bad. I mean, to be fair, I did feel a few extra bumps and lumps and stuff as I kind of went through. But I'll quickly show you around and just show you what we're up to, what we're up against. So this one is going to be 5x3. Back of the garden as usual, and what I'm doing with this one is I'm doing something slightly different, not majorly different, but like just for the supply of materials and stuff, because the garden's a bit smaller unlike the last one. I'm ordering it in like sections, so like the floor parts components will turn up, and then I'll get the walls, and then I'll get the ceilings and stuff like that, the roofing joists, bits and pieces, just so what it'll do is it'll help protect the garden. So there you go. I mean, it's not a small garden, it's still space, but when you've got like 4.8 metre lengths of stuff and bits and pieces piled up, it just means that I hopefully protect the grass a little bit, because we are doing building work, and yes, it is messy, but you still want to be sort of mindful of like how you're impacting your environment in this space. So, but that's the plan. So there you go. So 5x3, obviously 5 metres, 3 metres. This one, because the fence line at the back deviates into that direction, I'll bring it this way, you can sort of see it slightly better. You can see it kind of goes that away. We're going to sort of absorb that into the building as well. So as you step into it, the back wall there will be longer. So that'll have like the TV on and stuff like that. I'll leave some space down the side, back and both sides, so that I can actually get down there to put the sheets on both ends, or through 3 ends. You're going to have French UPVC doors, 2 floor to ceiling windows either side. It's a very sort of usual look, and what it does is it really allows a lot of lighting, because there's always that thing people go, oh, I want bifold doors, and you look at the cost of them, especially in a minute, because prices for absolutely everything is just skyrocketed, as anyone who's building these things will know. It is ridiculous. So I mean, the bifold doors for this would probably cost previous about 7 odd grand. That'll be up at the 10, 11 possibly mark now, just because of the way it's gone. So it's a good way to get a lot of light in for less money. And you know what, I quite prefer it. So yeah, I mean, design, everyone prefers something different, but that is the plan. So going to be here, nice big area, squared off, done. Obviously using the steel rod system, so today will be about getting these moved, stick them over there, get the ballast out, create my little space, my little work area for storage. I will then pin up with a string line, mark out my space, I'll show you how I do that, and then possibly start digging some holes and stuff like that to sort of get it all ready to rock and roll. So yeah, right. Well, that stuff ain't going to shift itself, so I better do it. But the client has got the kettle on. I love these guys. They're such nice clients. I've been so excited to work with them. So this is going to be a good one. So keep viewing. Well, there you go. Wasn't too bad, was it? Right, so that is now all the ballast up here, ready to rock and roll. Pinning material so I can mark it out. Radio, obviously very important. And basic tools like the batteries and stuff, which I need to charge up, so I'll start charging those up just ready for the next couple of days. But then it'll be basically pinning this bad boy out once I've shifted this lot. It's all shifting stuff, isn't it? Always. Righto, so I've now begun the sort of planning out. So if I step back here, you can now see, look at that lovely string line. So the question is, how did I do it? Was it magic? No, it's quite simple-ish, kind of. Really, it's about making sure that your corners are perfectly square where you can. So obviously we know that this one is 5x3. So what I've essentially done is got a rough measurement from this line this way, sort of just 3 meters, starting at that back corner. Still take into account the fact that I know this wall is going to be longer because the garden's going out like that, so I've exaggerated, but still 3 meters just to kind of give me that rough mark. Pinned one in this corner. Hello and welcome back. A whole 10 seconds after the last one. So let me step back. You can now see the string line is now in. Is it magic? No, it just takes a bit of figuring out. You know, this is obviously every part of it is important, but actually the planning stage of the actual build location and siting it, hugely important. So what I've done is, because we've kind of got this back wall goes out, so this wall here is basically 3.5 meters, and that one is 2.5. Because what we're doing is we're making use of the angle coming across that away. So the first consideration is that I need to get access down all 3 sides of here to put the metal sheeting on. So no matter what happened, this distance had to be set to approximately 700 mil, just so I can get down, get in, zip the wall up, done. It's about even spaced from that side to this side. So when I put the back line in, that was the first one I pinged across there to there. Then I worked out 5 meters. So that's quite a simple one. I know how far I want it roughly from the fence. Mark my 5 meters for this first rod at even Steven, so it's about 700 mil between there, and the same from the other end, there to there is about 700 mil, which is like the 5 meters perfect. So that there is 5 meters. Then it's just a matter of pinging this line here, going in this direction. Same the other side on the string, boom, and then just squaring it up. And then that is exactly where it lays. So yeah, I mean, doing sort of an odd shape one is slightly more complex, but it's not that difficult. I mean, if I was doing a straight rectangular one, same would apply. I'd basically measure roughly where I want the front of the building to be with the client, measure 3 meters back, boom, measure this one across 5 meters, boom, square that corner up. Next string line, square that one up to that one, and then the same again, you know. And it's just double checking it, because one of the tricks you can do is, like, if you've got rectangular ones, you can measure once you kind of got it in place and stringed out, you can measure corner to corner diagonally, and they should be very much similar. But obviously I can't do that with this one, because obviously you can't, it's going out at the back, but both the fronts are absolutely perfectly square. And how I do that is using one of these. Again, screw fix or whatever, they do them, you can order them online. So this is like a big one, which is perfect. So you can actually see, I mean, taking into account the angle of the phone, you can see it's absolutely beautifully squared off the string. Did that on that front and the one over there, and that's it. I know that the front is absolutely spot on. And you know, if it's not completely square, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't make a huge difference. So don't get like too panicky thinking, oh my god, it's like 0.5 mil out. You know, it's fine, it won't hurt it at all. Okay, you just do the best you can. You're working with wood anyway, so you're working with material that isn't always straight at all. So you know, you have to take compromise into account. But once it's up and it's in, perfect. You just try to do everything you can as well as you can using what you've got, and it'll be perfect. So that is it. That is all squared out. So now what I'm going to do, start digging my holes. So in order to do that, I've got this, a hole digger, which is very useful. So you know, it does dig holes, but it's not always the besto with pesto. So what I mostly use that for is removing soil from the hole, because it's a pain trying to get your hand in there and dig it out. But what I do use for digging the holes is this grafter shovel. Pick up a wick, screw fix, wherever you want. Nice and narrow, perfect for getting in. So that'll create the shape. And then, like I say, once I kind of start digging, I use the post digger to then remove the soil from the hole, and that is it. That creates some holes. So I'm going to start digging some holes, because that's what I want to do after I finish that cup of tea. And then we should get on, and I'll show you just a couple of holes dug and why they're the size they are and all that kind of stuff. See you in a second. And for the more observant, you'll notice now I have actually just put in the centre line as well. Completely forgot to mention that. But that literally, for this one, just goes through. I've got an offset off the centre here, because obviously that's like 2.5, and that's going to be a big wall that way. So it's sort of centralised there, pulling across this way. So there's a bigger span on this right hand side. But what I'll do is, there's a nice concrete slab here, so I'll just jack it up underneath that part. So that way, when I come to do the front rows, it could be even cuts all the way through, and I've only got like diagonal cuts on the back end. So obviously when you put floor joists in, the span will be even here, and the span will get slightly bigger as you go over there. That's no big deal. It'll be jacked up in that corner. Happy days. But little tip, right? When I'm measuring to get the centre line of my marks on my steel rods, what I do is, it's really difficult to take measure and hold it onto string. So what you got to do is grab yourself like an old bit of block that's got a semi-decent edge on it, flat edge, put it onto your string mark, grab a tape measure, and there you go. I can get an accurate reading without trying to pin that end down. So that is 1/16, perfect. 4.875. How simple is that? These are simple things that really make a difference. Right, now, once you've kind of got your square set up, what you basically do is measure 200 mil from each corner, spray, because you don't want it right in the corner, so that gives you strength with 2 rods. Do the same all the corners, and then basically take that distance between that 200 and that 200, and then divide it by how many rods you want. So we've got 5 rods in here at the front, 5 rods at the back, we've got 5 rods through the center, and we've got basically 4 rods at both ends. And obviously because this line is slightly different to this line, it just looks a bit more like close up there and a bit more separated. Doesn't matter, absolutely good as gold. There's not much weight on the sides because actually all the weight is on the front and the back, because your roof joists are running in that direction. So all the weight sits on this wall and that back wall over there. So there you go, that is it now officially laid out. So now I really will start digging some holes. Right, digging holes. Is it complicated? Not even slightly. So this is one of those things, and it sounds silly, but I think a lot of people trip up on this. They think, oh, digging holes is going to be quite hard work. Well, yeah, it will be, but it's not impossible, you know. So it's good fun actually. I don't mind it. So like I just said, you know, you've got your grafter shovel, you've got your post digger, but what you're basically looking for. Now, this garden is absolutely brilliant. It's not often you get this, but if I show you inside the hole, where's the camera? Where's the camera? There. So there you go. Right, what you can see down there is clay. Okay. Now, when you hit clay, you've got the perfect base for your cement and steel rod system. Okay. I hit clay at about 300 mil, 250. Okay, so that's too shallow even on clay. So you just have to work a bit through it, because you want to get down to at least sort of 500 mil inside the hole. But like, as you can see in this, I mean, it's just, this whole stuff is just clay, which is bloody fantastic because clay is supreme at carrying weight. So yeah, you want them to be about 200 mil wide, like I say, at least 500 deep. But sometimes, you know, if you're in a garden and it's quite peaty, sometimes you can go 700 mil deep, you know, until you hit clay, because you really do want to find the clay. Once you hit that yellow stuff, you're set, you're golden. Because you know, if you don't find clay, then it can be a bit of a pain, because ultimately, you know, all the weight of that building, you think once you actually cement this into that pot, you've got basically 600 mil by 200 massive square block or circular block of concrete, and the weight bearing down on it is evenly distributed between all of them. That's why we overshoot with the steel rods. But if you had too many that just weren't quite deep enough, say peat was about that much underneath each one, there's that potential for just that bit of movement, and you really don't want that. So if you can hit clay for all of them, find it, dig it, do it. You know, sometimes, like I say, I've gone down 700-800 mil before and just literally had enough of the shoe sticking out to actually do what I need to do with it. But that's the nature of the beast. You never quite know what you're going to come across. And obviously with all the rain we've had recently, this soil's nice and soft, it's nice to work in. I mean, I've done 4 holes in like, I don't know, 10 minutes. Which is great. I mean, over there will be slightly more arsey because there's a tree there, so I know I'm going to hit roots. You know, you have no idea. But that's what you're looking for. 200 mil wide, at least 500 deep. As soon as you hit clay, but not too soon. If, like I say, if you hit a 250 or 300, go the extra 200 mil, because you still need the depth just to kind of keep the rod like that. So if it's not shallow, if it's too shallow, it can start to do that. So you still want the extra length. That's quite good on the camera to stop it from doing that. So, right, okay, 500 mil deep, done. Right, I'm going to continue digging some holes, although Client's just brought a cup of tea out, and you can tell getting quite warm already after 4 holes. So I'm going to drink that, catch your breath, and then carry on with the rest. So I'm just digging the holes, and I suddenly thought, you know, there's some little thing that I haven't mentioned which might be quite useful to some of you. Well, a couple of things actually. So one of the things is, when you're digging your holes, don't just leave the soil next to the hole, because you end up walking in that crap, especially when it's clay and stuff, sticks to your shoes like a mother, and you drag it everywhere. Now, making a mess is inevitable, like I said earlier, but there's ways to minimise it. So what I do is, I dig, as I'm digging a hole, straight into the wheelbarrow, create a pile just over here, okay? Skip's not on site yet, that'll be next week, so I'm just giving it out of the way for a second. But if you take it straight out of the hole, into your wheelbarrow, and either into skip, or just put it into the corner, out your way for a bit, you're not walking in all that crap and mess, okay? Now, the other thing that some people will start lining it up and kind of getting the lines right, and then you put your markings out. What I do at that point, so once it's all marked, you can see, I get the spade and I just mark through the center where the actual string line is, okay? So there you go, you can see it all marked up. Because when you're digging a hole, you can't leave the string line there because obviously it's in your bloody way. It makes life difficult. So all I do is grab one of these, which by the way is another good tool to have. You come across any roots, you can really shaft through them quickly with this. You just bung it to one side, pin it wherever it's going to go, which isn't there, like that. Now it's your string line out the way, but I now know that is still through the center of my string line, so I can dig that one, I can do that one and that one, and then once you've dug it, let it ping back to where it's going to be, and then double check to make sure that your line is through the center of your hole like that, okay? Because it's not unusual to be digging your hole and it kind of goes off center a little bit and then you walk away and leave it. And you know, you've got a bit of tolerance for that, but don't forget you've got a 100mm plate washer going on these rods. And if this hole is biased to say there, and I put my rod there, well, that 100mm plate washer is going to be hitting this wall going down. So it's much better to just double check it, make sure you're happy, make sure it's going to be through the center, and that way I know that's still washer plate, straight in the center of the hole, job done. So there you go. Clear the site as you do it, stick it in a pile, mark your string lines, dig your hole, let the string line ping back, double check the position of the hole, and you're golden, aren't you? Absolutely golden. Now I've been doing this I've been digging for about 2 hours, 3 hours, and I'm over halfway there now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more holes to do, and then that's all the holes done. Sometimes I can be digging all day, even over that sometimes, depending if you've got loads of trees, what used to be planted here, if you come across rocks, or there used to be a fence line, so there's loads of concrete underneath. But so far, this one's not going too shabby, which is lovely jubbly. So I'm hoping to have all these holes dug by the end of play. And then I might even get a chance to start setting up some rods ready and then getting those all cemented in tomorrow. But we'll see how the afternoon goes. We'll see how much sweat I can get through and how much water I can drink. But there you go, a few more tips. Rods. What are they good for? Well, in this case, hold up your garden room. So, this is the system that I use. Here we have M24 8.8 grade threaded bars, okay? Galvanized, tipped ends, very nice. So, this is the principle that I go by. You grab one of these, you grab one of these nuts. Also M24, if you've got a different size, it doesn't fit as well. You'll wind this down, give or take about 6 inches, which for a rough measurement is roughly sort of 4 finger to thumb. Beautiful. Slip on one of these. So this is 100mm by 100mm, 10mm thick. We then wind this bad boy up to here. Oh, and by the way, in case you're wondering, all the holes are dug. So I've now got a grand total of 22 of these things. So 22 of those are counted, 22 of those, 44 nuts. Keep going, keep going. That is it. Done. Then I just grab a spanner, give it a little twist, just to make sure it's locked in place. It's not going to go anywhere, and that is it, okay? One support, fully manufactured. So what will happen is, tomorrow I'll look up my cement, pour a blob in there, sort of 6 inches worth or something like that. Take this, blob it into the hole to get rid of the air. I'll then level it and make sure that this edge is perfectly aligned with that bit of string, okay? And then make sure that this part here is level as well. Do that for all of them. And then I know that these line up with each other absolutely spot on. Once we've kind of got all these in, what will happen then is I'll put another 2 nuts on, wind them down to a low point about there. I'll then level all of them to the lowest point, which would be over that way, I think, quickly glancing at it. So that would be the one that's the closest to the ground, and it'll be level off of there. And then once they are on, I'll drop on another plate, boom, over the top of that 2 nuts, and then my wood sits on top of there. Okay, so don't worry about that bit too much, because I'll do the videos to show you how that's all done. But yeah, but there you go, that is the system. I always get asked where I get these from. I get these from Orbital Fasteners. Fantastic service, always usually in stock. I've never had an issue, and it always turns up within like a day or two. Dropped at my house, I don't need to sign for it, knock, anything. The bloke is just brilliant, just drops it and goes. So yeah, that is the system. So basically, once we've got 22 of these in place and it's all cemented in, it's going to be absolutely hard as nails, and this thing is going nowhere. It's a really simple system. I think it's basically pulled off of Skyscraper, which is a very similar system, obviously slightly bigger, but this is a miniaturized version. But yeah, it's a great system, and because you can adjust the nuts up and down, you can get absolutely beautiful, perfect levels. Obviously you could go for concrete slabs and stuff like that as well. If he's going to do that, I'd go for thermally insulated ones, as opposed to just like a concrete slab just on its own. And don't forget to put the rebar in it. It needs to be at least 6 inches thick as well, to sort of hold a garden room. But this is a great system, and the other good thing about this is all my timber, so the 4x3 which makes the frame, is off the deck. So it's pressure treated anyway, but because it's pressure treated and it's off the deck, and we can allow airflow under the building, it will never ever rot, it'll never do anything, it'll stay perfect pretty much forever. So it's a great system. So yeah, highly recommended it. So there you go, that is the rod system. That's how you do it. Like I say, 4-finger thumb gives you sort of the base plate for the top. Put the base plate on, lock it off, lock off it, done. So I'll knock all these up now, ready for tomorrow, put them in place ready, and that's it. Bloody happy days, isn't it? And I hope the audio is slightly better, because I've got my pods in, so hopefully that'll make a difference. If it hasn't, leave a comment to say that the audio is sucky, and I'll get myself a little Rose-like audio thing, mic. And that's it. End of a day. I'm going to answer another question before I get asked, because I know I will do. The reason why we have the washer plate on the bottom, because people will be like, well, why do you even bother with it, and why have it like sort of 6 inches up off the deck? Well, the reason is that if you just had this lovely pole and you put it into the concrete in the ground, with the weight of the building, it would just pile drive it down. So by having this on here, that then gives the concrete something to actually mould around and support it. So any weight being bared down on this is distributed through this. And the reason you put it at the bottom and put it halfway up is so that you get a nice base of concrete underneath it as well. So there you go. And on that note, there you go. No, they're not in, they're just held there ready for tomorrow. So that is it, I'm done for the day. I will now crack off and go pick up my cement mixer, ready for tomorrow. But that's it, holes dug, all steel rods manufactured and ready to go in the holes. So yeah, very happy, good day that. Any questions, ping them down below, I shall answer best I can. And in the meantime, if you like what you see, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, because, well, why not? There's something else to watch, isn't it? See you later, guys, take care.